especially for those of you who really want to be a millionaire and you're not just talking. If you're just talking, then there's a club for that. They look great. They wear all the t-shirts that say that they're a boss and they're doing nothing. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the person behind you.
Because I really don't know what I would do if I didn't have some work that I had to get to.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of WorkHARDAholics. I am Shirley Crawford, the original WorkHARDAholic, Executive Director of the Women's Business Center, RVA, and someone suggested to me that I should have this pre-recorded, like let someone else do it, and I'm starting to think, great idea! All right, but welcome back. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m., we come to you with information. We come to you with a way to help you communicate better. We come to you with a new book, a way to expand your mindset, a way for you to be able to business better. As we always say, work hard, play harder, business better. And so, as I've mentioned, I am Shirley Crawford, your host, or one of them, for WorkHARDaholics. And so here is the deal. If this is the first time you've heard the term WorkHARDaholic, you might be wondering what it means. Don't bother to go to Webster's because they haven't put it in there yet. Give me time. A workaholic is someone who is always doing something. We don't rest on our laurels. We don't wait for the world to bring it us. We take it to the world.
Taking it to the stage.
Thank you, Christina, with the with the K. And to my this is so once again, we have all this virtual stuff going because that's how life works, people. That's how life works. And so I'm looking at the screen. So to my left, yay, which she would also be in person, is Socialita Christina. I'm trying to tell y'all people, you know what? So I go into my belly and bring it forth to just share my excitement at having my co-host. Do y'all think she gives it back to me? I'm talking about her.
Really though, I just
I'm just saying. Y'all see, I'm going. You would think this is what are the announcement shows when they always announce the person who's coming up? And now I present to you none other than the incomparable, the one, the only, Socialita Christina. Yes, she is.
My son is in virtual class, right here.
Oh, okay. That is the other thing. That is this is 2021, people. I don't know when you're hearing it. I don't know when you're seeing it, but we are still in a pandemic.
Yes,
even though there are more people with the vaccine. But numbers are fluctuating. There's in some areas, like Virginia, right now anyway, cases are increasing. And I have a theory about that, but and not a conspiracy theory. We leave that to Taiwan Lee. Are you out there, Ty? Hi there. All right. Not a conspiracy theory. I think a piece of human nature is that, one, there's the hubris of the young who think that they are indestructible. There's always that. Then there are those who politically believe that it's a conspiracy, even if they themselves come down with it in the end. And then there's this in-between area. And I had this conversation because my niece is a nurse. And so I have had the wonderful placement to be able to have really good conversations about the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
My sister works for Pfizer, one of the people who made the vaccine.
Okay.
She is a scientist or something or another. Either way, she's something geeky. And then my niece actually works for one of our local hospitals. So she works for MCV VCU. Really, it used to be MCV. Now it's called VCU Health. That's a whole branding thing. We're not going there. But you know what? We should talk about VCU and their branding one day. Because talk about a branding. I'm trying to think of a good word because one day I might want them to sponsor me. But for real, they're like the branding mafia. For real. I don't know how to politely put that. Talk about they do it. No doubt about it. They trying to talk about who runs Richmond. VCU.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And we love you. I do have a degree from there. Sponsor the show. All right. So in that note, we were first talking about the vaccine. When the more people start to get it, the more reckless their behavior. Right? So it's like, oh, they're like, I got my first shot. I'm good. You're not. Very good. Christina with a C has had her shot. And that, very good. But really, there's a germination period. You have to give it time to take hold. And there's a reason there's a second shot. And so I heard someone say the other day, which I thought was very interesting, the first shot is for the body to get used to it. The second shot is to let the virus know. And so that's why I just thought that was an interesting little way of putting it. So the second shot is why people feel horrible, because that's when it's really impacting like the virus or those cells and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that was more than you all wanted to learn today. Had a thought. And as a business owner, like, so we talk about business and life as an entrepreneur, but this is a part of life. Like, there are real conversations that have to be had about, like right now, the schools, the universities, the schools are all trying to determine their legal rights. And apparently, according to the Attorney General is currently saying that universities have the right to say that you have to be vaccinated or you can't come back to school. And so right now, it's not as much of an issue because you still have this hybrid situation going on, right? And so, like, various schools are considering various policies, and I think Virginia Union University, I'm pretty sure has already come out and said, if you are not vaccinated, you are not welcome here. And so I don't know if that means, and considering like their financial status, that's a really bold statement for a university that's constantly going up and down with their endowments, and not that long ago had a roof cave in. And I love Union. I'm a full supporter of HBCUs, but I find that to be a really interesting statement. I almost find it to be a really powerful statement about their thought process about caring for their students, that they're willing to risk it. So on that end, I find it kind of powerful. On the other end, I'm still not sure, Attorney General, whatever you say, I'm still not sure that you can legally demand that someone be vaccinated. I'm just saying. So that's the universities. And so VCU is going through, looking up there, trying to decide on their policy. VSU, I feel like I saw somewhere that they were going to do the same, mandatory. I don't know if that was an insider thing, or I don't know where I saw that. And so I don't know what their final results are, but that's the universities. Then we have to look at our schools. And then also, as a business owner, what's your policy? Right? So like I'm a logical person. I'm a person of sound mind. And so I went into, I like the thrift store. I like to go to thrift stores. Like I like vintage. I don't go in there for clothes really. So, I mean, that's not really, nothing wrong with that either. I'm just saying in general, I like to find like what old tech gear they have that I didn't want to buy when it first came out. Or I buy a lot of my books at the thrift store, the secondhand store. And they have all kinds of miscellaneous and things. If I want to, like, whenever I'm stressed, I like to DIY. So I'll go find a project. And one of the ones that I go to, I love Fantastic Thrift. Hey, out there on Cary Street. The children's and so here's the thing about the thrift stores and why I love them. Thrift stores are normally nonprofit organizations. So that's how they raise money for their cause. Right. So that's the bottom line. So they're amazing, even if you don't want it. Like I bought, did I buy? I bought a violin recently. I already have a violin. I've had one since I was 8. I've been playing since I was 8. I bought a little violin. I was thinking about Caitlin. And so my great niece it's bigger than her. Whatever. I just saw it and I had to have it. I really want one day to play a duet with my great niece. Sidebar. And so every time, even if you're thinking, I don't want secondhand stuff, go in and drop some money anyway. It all goes to Goodwill, which does hiring. and workforce development and housing. Salvation Army does housing, and you'll see their facilities and building people and giving them skills. And so I went into the Children's Hospital of the King's Daughter. In case y'all didn't know, that's what CHKD stands for. They're based out of like Norfolk, the Tidewater area, because that's where their hospitals are. Right? It's all affiliated with the hospital system, and that's one of the ways they make money. And so I've always been an avid supporter. Maybe a few years ago, they brought locations to Richmond. And so my heart knows it's a good cause, and that's where I should go, and I should always support, and I always go in and buy something, whatever. I went in the other day, and they have a different face mask policy. So their face mask policy is that, y'all know normally I like to wear my shield because like breathing is an issue for me. Like I feel claustrophobic in the mask. Every day I feel a little bit better. I can do it a little bit longer. Like I actually took my niece to the park and ran around with it on my face just to make sure that I can do it. But generally speaking, it makes me feel some kind of a way, and it was starting to break my face up. Whole other story. So I generally wear the shield. So I am a face mask wearer, be not deceived. But I went into the CHKD thrift store, and they asked very politely, "Ma'am, do you happen to have a cloth face mask?" And I was wearing my shield, and they asked me, did I have a cloth face mask? And I was like, I just said no. Now, truth be told, I have a pack of these things in my car, but I wasn't thinking about it. I got an instant attitude, and I was like, no, I don't. And so, and she's like, well, our policy is, for the safety of our employees and all of our clientele, that everyone wears a cloth face mask. So I left, and I got my life together and went back later. But initially, here I am, a sound, logical individual, and initially I had an attitude about it. Right? And so, as a business owner, that's something you have to think about, like, what is your policy? And even though logically I sit back and I think to myself, they are right. Here's the thing to think about. And the airlines have, for FYI everyone, the airlines have a similar policy. I don't know how much they're like enforcing it. But yeah, they have a similar policy to say that you're supposed to have a cloth or a face mask or something, and it's not supposed to be a bandana. The cute little ones everywhere look like a scarf. It's not supposed to be one of those. They have a whole little sheet on it. But I saw people wearing those. So I don't know. It might be airline to airline. And so you have to think to yourself, is this going to impact your bottom line? What's your mission? What's your value? What are you really representing? And so if you say that you are a company that cares about its employees, then every policy, every action should reflect that. That's the whole thing about really saying that you have a mission statement.
Right.
It's beyond a cute tagline. Mm-hmm. Like, we care. Do you? Do you? And you pay your employees like $2 an hour? I still don't know how the restaurant industry gets away with it. I don't care what you tell me about tips. I have no idea what, and I always say I'm going to look it up, but I have no idea what gazillionaire out there who owned a lot of, food places that even allow that to be a possibility.
Yeah. And
then has the audacity to tell me how much I should tip. Some places like to tell you 20% now. So it was 10% for, and I keep in mind, coming through school, like I am the queen hustler. I have waited tables before. I ain't doing it now. Oh, no. But
actually, it's something, I'm not going to lie, it's something I actually would do on the weekends. I loved it. I loved it. I did it for like 6 years. Shout out to Aunt Sarah's.
Did you do Aunt Sarah's? Do you know I worked at Aunt Sarah's, the one they just tore down. I worked there midnight shift. That was so long ago.
Yeah, when I got there, it was no longer open at that time.
Yeah, I lasted maybe 3 weeks. I like to, I maybe, because the training was a week. Yep, I lasted 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Oh my gosh, no, I did Aunt Sarah's, I did Friendlies.
I did Shoney's. and so most of mine were when I was in school. So when I was actually when I was in college. So when I was at JMU, I worked at, I keep wanting to call it Big Rob and Big Boy. I always get them confused. But I did Shoney's. That might have been it. I did Shoney's and a little stint at Aunt Sarah's. That's it. That is all I did. But I did the Shoney's. I did that for like 2 years while I was in school. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I have no idea how they get away with that. And the idea, yeah, I cannot imagine how. I can't. But the thing is, like, for every industry, especially when it comes to COVID is a great example, but for everything you do, you have to think about what's your policy on it, what's your message. And I'm really big on like your mission, like everything about you should say and be what you say you are.
Right.
And this is a time where we really figure out what people like, what they really mean versus what they say. Because like when we talk marketing and advertising, we always put the pretty bow on. But if inside the box are stinky shoes, then that's not really doing anything. So we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about people and what they really mean, which I think is part of the problem that we are experiencing. For those who talk about equity, and then you look in their companies and their diversity is 0.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a time where we're doing a lot of honest assessing and paying some attention. So if you are that entrepreneur, if you're the business owner, you really should think about what is your message, what is your mission, what's your vision, and make sure that everything around you supports that. So like here at the Women's Business Center, located at 1510 Woodlawn Drive, directly across the street from the Kroger Woodlawn, got to plug that in. We say that one of our underlying messages is that we are here as a support system for female entrepreneurs, and that we're holding your hand, not your purse. Say it all the time.
Okay.
Right? And so that's not our tagline. It's just one of the things we always say. And so
I like that.
Right? Thank you. And so one of the things that people don't know, when you are an entrepreneur and you're looking for office space or commercial space, generally speaking, the lease agreements are normally for 3 years. Uno, dos, tres. I said 3 years. As an entrepreneur, you don't know what's going to happen next week, let alone next month, next year, or 3 years.
Especially if you're a startup. You may not last 3 years.
And it's the truth. And then also, I always say that you could have a success story. So I remember one of my clients sold their business to one of their clients. No, it was a great thing. So they had a client who was like a global brand. They were a local brand providing a product to that client, and they were so successful that their client like, hey, you know what? We just want to buy your whole business, and so they did. That is a success story, but that meant they were left with office space that they had to pay for. To me, that is not saying that we support you as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, we recognize that you're trying to make every day work. And so like here at the center, our policy is that you sign a 1-year lease agreement, not 3. 1 year, even though we're in prime real estate and we're a business too. And if you're not here, it takes 3 months to find a new person to take over an office. We hear that. We understand that, but our heart and our purpose is about the entrepreneur. So our policy is 1, you only sign a year-long agreement, which you can renew at the end of each year. And then 2, if for any reason whatsoever you need out. So if your business is, just transitioning, if you're transitioning from brick and mortar to virtual and you don't need the space anymore, then why should you be paying for it? If your business is failing, which is something that I don't want to be a part of, we're trying to help you so that's not the case. But let's just say it just is. The foundation of what you were making is something that the current society just cannot be a part of anymore. Like you were all about in-person meetings, and now nobody's doing that for a year. That causes a problem. Or let's just say you have a success story where you actually were, a serial entrepreneur. You sold that business and you don't need the space anymore.
Right.
Our policy is 30-day notice. That's it. That's when you know your mission aligns with your policies, your procedures, and your practices.
Right.
Right. All right. So I don't know what sentence on that rant, but it was all entrepreneur related.
Right.
Enjoy that information. Okay, so I know last week and maybe the week before, this season has been stressful, does not cover it. I am very fortunate that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, over 2 weeks ago, I got to go on a little vacation. And the thing that was so interesting is that it took 3 days for me to start to relax. And that's just how much we've all been carrying. On that note, I want to remind you all, I've mentioned it before about Dr. Felicia Green, and there are lots of options. It can be your pastor. At my church, as a matter of fact, we have one of our ministers is actually a licensed psychiatrist, psychologist, something. She's a licensed counselor. And so it's very easy to get the blend. Whatever you need, then I just really want to suggest that everyone get what you need. Whatever it is that you need, take care of you. Don't let it be a stigma. Don't let it be an issue. Don't let it be a concern. Right now is a highly stressful, emotional, turbulent time. And I want you all to take care of yourselves, and the way that you need, so that tomorrow we can all still be here. Right? So like I've been signing off all of our messages. I'm like, stay safe, stay sane. Like, for real. There's a third S I don't remember right now. It might be like stay successful. I don't know. The other two I always remember. And so on that note, I just want to reiterate, if you need assistance, you need help, reach out. There's someone out there you can talk to. There are even apps now that you can right? There are apps for that. So if you're so uncomfortable about talking to someone in person, or meeting in person is just a complication, there really are apps. There are lots of hotlines and lots of numbers and lots of information, but get what you need. And so part of the reason why I even I'm even thinking to share this is because, once again, I'm a real strong person. But like last week, I was real broken, right? And so I had the luxury of having within my circle like pastors and other individuals that I could talk to candidly. And so I know a lot of people think that, Shirley don't have no emotions. I do. I do have emotions. I just don't wallow in them all the time. But how you feel is how you feel, and be okay with it. All right. So I was talking about like last week. There's a lot that's happened this past weekend. I am heartbroken, and my heartfelt condolences to the Simpson family, and the loss of their son, their brother, church member, the whole nine. An amazing young man who's no longer with us. Also, on that note, to another extension of my family, last week we were very sad to note that Adele Johnson, she passed away last Sunday. And so the thing is, I have this picture of her, and this one came from some magazine spread. And so she always makes me think about legacy. Right. So like the picture that they have, the picture that it'll pop up for you, that one is from a magazine spread that she did. So Adele Johnson, yes, a lovely lady. As a matter of fact, Collaboration, the organization that we do work here in affiliation with the center, actually honored her, I guess 4 years ago. And so what most people don't know and I don't talk about is the fact that I've known her since middle school, because her daughter is my best friend. And so, beautiful, amazing woman. And I got to tell her that the happy point for me was when we honored her, because I'm real like introverted. I keep telling y'all that. Even with people that I know very well, I'm not one of those people that goes around gushing about stuff. I had an opportunity to make sure that she heard me loud and clear and publicly to state like her impact on my life. And she told me afterwards, she's like, I didn't know, that was beautiful. And so I feel that's the one thing right now that I keep remembering, that moment where I got to tell the world that basically my life was like a carbon copy of hers as far as business is concerned. Like, she is the one that inspired me quietly, the one who inspired me to become an entrepreneur. Some of the circles I run in, I laugh and I trip because people will be talking about her. And I never say that I even know her. I don't talk about it. But I always feel so proud because people are always talking about how gracious and amazing, and I always say regal, she was. And she has left an amazing legacy. And speaking of legacy, that of course leads us to our word for the week. Y'all know
Okay.
we're still gonna get it. And our word for the week in that vein is, make sure I can say it right, hereditament.
Hereditament.
Hereditament. It's a T, but it sounds like a D. And
Okay.
doesn't it sound like hereditary? Right?
Yes.
Hereditament. Right. And what it's really about is leaving, it's about leaving an inheritance. And so you can have a corporal hereditament, which means that you can have things from your company. You can leave buildings or plots of land or other things. And so this was, to me, I was really thinking about AJ, and I was thinking about her legacy. And okay, so I have to tell my one of my legacy story. One of the things that I do all the time, I have a bunch of mentees like that I've had for eons. How y'all doing out there? And so I love to take young people on their first trip to Georgetown. Christina with the K, have you been to Georgetown?
No.
We're going to have to
We had this
take
conversation
you.
before. I don't think I've been.
So one of my favorite things to do, I do a bunch of stuff. So I do a bunch of stuff, and I realize a bunch of it is stuff that she first did for me. Right. So like my first live concert, was that my first one? Okay, that might be my second one. My first time in a limousine was with them all. My first trip to Georgetown, she took me with her daughter. Like a bunch of my first, and yeah, a bunch of my first are all affiliated, related, associated with their family. And so in the corner of there, I have this picture of this. That's a shop. That picture up there is from a shop in Georgetown. And so I'm going to tell this story. And I'm sure I know so many people have, Adele Johnson stories, whatever you call her. And so I'm going to share this one, and where we'll all commiserate, and we will live the lives that we know that she would expect from us. Okay, so when we were in high school, it was my junior year of high school, and or right before senior year, and so it was the summer after junior year. Thank you. And she was taking her daughter for back to school shopping, and she invited me to come. And so they were going to Georgetown. I had never been there before, and I've been a lot of places. I'd never been to Georgetown, and so I had my King's Dominion check. Y'all know, if y'all were here in the summers and y'all everybody worked at King's Dominion.
Yeah.
It was good money too. Keep that in mind. So and so she took us, and I had my money from my check. And so there was this amazing jean dress, right? I think I can visualize with me. Plus, this is y'all know I'm 50. So this is 1987. See how am I telling y'all? Yeah, 1987. And
the year I was born.
oh God, you babies! See, you can't even fully appreciate a jean dress in.
Right.
Yes. So for y'all, jeans are a normal thing. I come from a time period where we crossed over into the fact of you could be able to wear jeans to work. That was a definite no-no. That was definitely unprofessional. So I'm right there. That's the one thing I love about my age. I'm right there in between. Like, I know the old, I see the new, and I can choose to do. That's right there. I do love that. So this jean dress was amazing, and so she stood next to me. This is the part I just found fascinating, because I know if it'd been my mom, love my mom, but she'd be like, "Girl, you crazy? That dress $100, $100 in 1987." And so, but what she said to me is something. It's part of the philosophy of how I like to deal with other people. So if you ever wonder why I respond this way, you'll know why. So she looked at the dress and she said, "It's lovely. It's lovely on you. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes." And she said, "Okay, well, you see how much it costs. Do you want to pay for it?" And I stood there and I was like, And she did not try to talk me out of it. She did not try to talk me into it. She just stood there with me and went through the options of what it meant one way or the other. And that's generally how I try to do. For those of you who've ever done a counseling session with me, especially about your business, that's pretty much my whole philosophy. I am not here to make the decision for you, even if I have a definitive one. My job is to make sure that you fully understand the benefits, the repercussions, and that you're comfortable with your decision. And I support that in the end. I learned that support that day. Thank you very much. Okay. That's my random story for the day. Alrighty then. So for the rest of you all, I hope that you are considering what your hereditament is and what it's going to be. Also, on that note, I want to make sure we highlight to say that one of the requests for the Johnson family is that donations be made to the Black History Museum. So not flowers, not anything else, unless you just want to do both, be my guess. But they're specifically asking for donations to the Black History Museum. If you're not a member, become a member. It's only like $35 for the year if you're single. It's not very expensive. They do amazing work. Adele Johnson has been the director she served as the interim director for a while, and then they brought her on as a director. And so she previously worked for RPS Foundation. She worked for Capital One. She worked for the Minority Business Supplier Diversity Agency here in Virginia. She put it on the map. She's done a lot of amazing things. She had her own consulting business. She's actually been a model. She's been a lot. And she's been a lot to me. And for that, we say thank you. All right. So I want to make sure, I know for me, I want to make sure that I have at least a portion of the legacy, a portion of the hereditament to pass on to others. And this podcast to me is a part of that hereditament that I can share with the world. The inheritance that I can pass on to you all with knowledge and information and giving you what you need to succeed. All right. So the next thing we're going to share, because we do, although I dare to ask, Christine with the K, I hate to put, you know how I hate and love to put you on the spot all at the same time. Because it's already like, it's almost, we're halfway through the show and we haven't gotten halfway through the show. But I'm curious to know, like, when you think about your family, your life, what do you think your legacy, your hereditament will be? Or what would you like it to be?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, you did put me on the spot. So,
it's what I do, people.
I
It's
know,
what
right?
I do.
I don't know. Like, I think I want, like, my morals, my values, everything to kind of be like planted and instilled in my son. The way I handle different things, my integrity, which is something I'm really, really big on. So things like that, how I do business and how, I want to treat people the way that I desire to be treated. Overall, I think those are the most key things that I want to pass down.
Those were great.
Okay.
I think about, so at this point in my life, I have more money than I did when I was younger. I mean, clearly. We hope that's the case for everyone.
Right.
But it used to be that every Christmas I would give coupon books.
Okay.
Right. And so the coupon book would include things that were spread out over the year, but they were mostly things they did with me. Right. So like every year I took my nieces and nephews to the fair, myself and my sister. And so, like, I miss that now. And every year we would take them to go see the Christmas lights. And every year we would do, there are certain things we always did. But in their coupon books, one of the things they always got was one thing I knew that they in particular was catered to them that they like to do. And then the other was one, like, you get to spend the night with Auntie Shirley. Right.
Aww.
And we would do whatever we would do at that time period. And I feel like a few years ago, and now I'm like, I've been buying big gifts, right? So like for a while, every year I would buy them when we got into the buying stuff. I used to buy them a season pass to King's Dominion each year, in addition to whatever else. So like I was buying stuff, and they liked the stuff. But like a few years ago, I say a few, I don't know how many I spent, 5, 7. They told me they really missed the coupon books.
Aww.
And I'm like, I just want you a passport.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, y'all remember when we used to? And I'm like, y'all halfway grown now. What? But when I think about the hereditament, like leaving that inheritance, that legacy, they might not remember like the stuff I bought, but I know that they will always remember the time I spent. So that's part of that hereditament for me. So on that note of hereditament, y'all like the back I'm able to say it. There are no S's in it, so it's a whole lot easier for me to say than if there were S's involved. And so with regard to the hereditament and the legacy, our book it moment for this week is a Dave Ramsey book. And that's what it's all about. It's all about building legacy. And so one of the things I appreciate about Dave Ramsey and his books, one, they're from a Christian perspective, but even if you're not a Christian, they're still very sound financial principles. He has the university, all kinds of other programs, and I have several of his books in my library. But there is a proverb that talks about really that you are successful when you have when you leave an inheritance for your children's children. So when you have something to leave for your grandkids, that's when you know you've done it. A lot of us, as this pandemic has shown, are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
You cannot possibly be leaving anyone an inheritance or a legacy when you can barely, when you're barely able to survive. So the moment that, I believe there was a study, and I can't remember what it said. It was like, the average family can go 2 paychecks before the poorhouse.
Mm-hmm.
That's potent.
It is.
So when you're talking about leaving a legacy, there are some simple techniques of things that you can be doing to do better with that, right? And so there was this graphic that I was using for a class that I was teaching Sunday, and it's a tale of two families, and so and it's a rich dad poor dad kind of concept. And so young person in their 20s is putting aside $5 a week. And when I was a kid, $5 a week would have been a big deal. Okay, but putting aside $5 a week into a savings account, which they're averaging like less than 3% interest. The other one is taking that $5 a week and placing it into like the stock market or some other medium along those lines, and even into the cautious stock market, not the radical. You can make money in 2 years kind of thing. Standardly speaking, your stock market investments are for 10 years or more. That's when they start to bring in like your 10% average or more. And so they said that same amount of money, and the one who will put aside that $5 into that savings account each week was indeed in the 6 figures. The one who will put aside into the stock market each week was into the 8 figures. That's a big difference, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we're talking about legacy, one, it's making sure that we're not living in debt, that we get credit and credit cards to help establish credit, not to rely on or spend money that we shouldn't be spending. Mm-hmm. So being aware of that, budgeting, teaching your children how to budget, that's all part of that legacy, that hereditament that you want to be able to pass on. Passing on good credit and good behavior. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So that's all part of that legacy journey. Feel free to check out the book with Dave Ramsey or any of his other literature, especially if you're thinking about money. And I am digging even further into my research of Wall Street Trapper.
Oh, okay.
I know I talked about him. Was that last week before last? Still
No,
enjoying
that was,
that. I love to
yeah.
see an African American like doing it. And so if you look at, and there's so many of them right now, and I'm so happy to read reports where the athlete isn't the one who's walking with his head in shame because he spent all his money and now he's broke from bad financial decisions. But now we're seeing all these stories of the athletes who are like LeBron James is working with the other guy whose name I don't remember, and they're doing Coinbase. And now they're coming out with like Gary Vee, who I love, is not an athlete. But he's now coming out with a Bitcoin wallet. And so there are all these other Bitcoin options. I'm still learning Bitcoin, so don't ask me no questions. I'm still learning. But I hope that you all are doing the same thing, I never feel confident that I know it all. There's always more, and I'm always trying to learn. And plus it's always changing. So as an entrepreneur, as an investor, as a parent, as even if it's just for your own retirement, if you're looking for hereditament and you want to be able to do an endowments or whatever you want to be able to do, you need to be thinking about how do you make the money to have that inheritance, that financial inheritance, or even if it's emotional, spiritual, integrity, character, things that Christina talked about. How are you making sure that you're sowing into other people to make sure that they have that? Right. I laugh a lot. We're about to do our business check-in, I promise people. But I laugh a lot because like I will be around people and they quote me back to me, even if they're not saying, "Oh, this is what you always say." Like that's you're rubbing off. That's the kind of influence you want to have. And it should be casual, formal. It should be all of those things so that it's integral to that person. All right. That's my soapbox for today. Or for this moment. I'm sure I'll find another in just a few minutes. So right now, Socialita Christina, can you share with us our Socialita business check-in?
Yes. So this moment during the podcast, we shout out a couple businesses, local businesses in the area that are basically doing their thing, right? So if you want your business to be on this podcast, if you want us to shout your business out, if you want us to stop by, make sure that you hit us up in the DM and let us know. So the first business that I'd like to share, it is the Imagine Media Lab.
The Imagine
hosting,
Media
yes,
Lab.
this amazing podcast. And guess what? They can host yours too. So
That's
make sure that you reach out to them. They are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So make sure you hit them up. If you need like editing for your videos, you need a promo video. Everybody needs a promo video. So make sure that you check them out. They do all of your editing.
They do our commercials. And they're beautiful.
Yes. Amazing commercial. They put the music behind it. They make you look nice, all that. So make sure that you reach out to them today. The second business, it is Second Chance Consulting with Shirley Crawford. So if you or someone you know, they're starting a business, they already have their business, they're trying to switch businesses, whatever it may be, make sure that you reach out to Shirley Crawford because she can help you and assist you on your entrepreneurial journey. Okay. Socialita, which is my business. We are a social media management company, and we assist businesses, small businesses, individuals with social media management. Okay. So if you're tired of posting, or you don't understand social media strategy, reach on out to us. Come and be a part of the Unicorn Tribe, because we are gonna help.
I just see a whole herd of unicorn like galloping through the field. Okay.
Yes. So we specialize in brand awareness because, again, don't forget, likes, shares, and followers do not always mean money. There are a
That's
whole bunch of
right.
TikTokers, there are a
That's
whole bunch of
right.
influencers. They got a huge following, but guess what? They ain't getting no money from it. We want to make sure that we are changing that for you. We want to make sure that people know exactly who you are. So when it's time for them to need your services, they don't even have to guess. They don't have to Google, because what? They already know who you are. So
They already
we put
know.
that out there, right? Taiwan Lee, she is the owner of Legacy Managed by Ty. We were just talking about legacy. So make sure that you leave your legacy to your family, which is property, assets, okay? No more liabilities.
No debts.
No debts. Oh, no, man.
Nothing.
Okay.
Oh no man but to love him. Nothing but to love
Yes,
him. Yeah,
yes.
okay. I
So
get it.
make sure that, if you are looking for a realtor that knows exactly what they're doing, they're not going to undermine you. They're not going to, take your money. They're not going to sell you something that they wouldn't live in themselves. Then make sure that you reach out to Taiwan Lee. Okay. Let's see, the Women's Business Center. How can I forget the
Whoop
Women's
whoop, the Women's Business Center.
Yes. Like I've said before, it is time to come up out of that kitchen. All right. The kitchen, the dining room table. The dining room table, it is for eating only. Okay. So make sure that you reach out to the Women's Business Center, because they have co-working spaces, they have online or virtual membership. If you're not quite ready, you just kind of like want to see how it is a little bit, make sure you reach out to them. They have amazing options, and not only do they have amazing options, they are affordable. Okay.
This
and
is true.
Listen, your office is right across the street from Kroger.
Willow Lawn.
Yes, Willow Lawn. And you don't even have to fight for parking. Listen, I'm not trying to shade those other co-working spaces, but guess what? There's no parking. Okay. But at the Women's Business Center, you got your own little parking spot. Your own little parking space, the area, whatever. So make sure that you reach out. Okay. There's no reason why you're paying for parking. There's no reason why you can't find a space at your own office.
Oh, paying for parking. Oh, goodness. Oh.
Yes. Or your clients.
People do that. I don't know why I'm tripping. I used to work downtown. I worked downtown because I worked at MCV Pediatric Administration. And I also worked for Radiology, the magazine. I work for a science magazine. I'm such a geek. And we did have to pay for parking. I don't know why I forget that. Like, it was a thing. And it was like, woo, dent in the paycheck.
Yes, listen, I recently went to see an attorney, and their office was in a co-working space. And as a client, I was so like taken back by having to pay for my parking. And all I need to do was run in papers and come right out. So I was a little pissed. But hey, it is what it is. I won't be using y'all no more, but no, I'm joking.
Duly noted.
Okay. AAA Consulting with Tracy Ross. She's amazing. She she sits down with you. She has an amazing free consultation where she goes through your credit score, goes through your inquiries and things that are hurting your score. And she gives you a plan. Not only does she give you a plan, she helps you with it. So make sure that you reach out to her. I know she has a Mother's Day special that's coming up. So please reach out to AAA Consulting.
All right, now. I just feel like pointing out,
what?
I'm addicted to checking my credit score, and it went up last week. I just enjoy that. Like, I don't know the things that make you all happy. I don't know, but I looked at my credit, and I was like, it went up. I don't even know why. I'm trying to go in and figure out like what was the thing. But hey, up is up. I'm all for it. So
I learned so much.
I did hear that sometimes it goes up if you're based on like as your credit accounts are aging. Then the longer you've had them, that it increases. I don't know if one of my accounts had an anniversary. I'm not sure, but I saw that tick up, and I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
that feels good."
It's major.
Yeah, it's a thing, people.
Yes. So let's see. I believe that's it for the business check-in today.
I don't know how to make a hashtag with my fingers. Like, how does that look?
It's okay.
That's to you. What's our hashtag?
Okay.
What's our
I'm sorry.
hashtag?
Hashtag my legacy.
Oh, yes. I'm going to be using that all week. Hashtag. How do you make a hashtag symbol? It should look like, but if you open it, I mean, that looks crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, hashtag my legacy. Because y'all don't want it to be hereditary. I know. But, hey. So, I think we're about to hear a word from our sponsors.
Okay.
Alrighty then. So hopefully you all enjoyed that commercial break. And of course, that social business check-in. If you want that to include you, as Christina said, drop a message into the DM, into the comments, or I'm old school. You can send us an email. All right, whatever makes you happy. Okay, believe it or not, we have like 2 minutes.
Oh.
I know, right?
Okay.
It's because I was going on and on about, we needed a moment to have a mental health break and to make sure that we don't break mentally. And so I am perfectly fine with us using that time to have that conversation. And I hope that you all are having those conversations. So we're going to skip our time tool technique for this week. Although I will tell you, there is an app. If you are an Apple user, be that the watch, the iPhone, iPad. Where's my iPad? My iPad out there. My MacBook over here. Whoop, whoop. But I don't use the iPhone. Okay. Except for now, I need to do Clubhouse. But there's an app called YNAB, so feel free to check that out. Android users, you have other options, but YNAB is a simple personal budget app. All right, so check it out. We've been talking about legacy, hereditary. We want to make sure that you are using your money wisely. For some of you, if you do something as simple as track what you spend each week, just write it down, you're going to see where you're squandering it. Yes. So like I know that I spend money on food, but I am so frugal on everything else. Right? So like the MacBook Pro I'm talking about, I've known for 6 months that it was coming out and that I was going to be like putting aside money towards getting it. That's me. Right? Okay. But I'll go out right now and spend $20 on food. Right? Yeah. So if you're like I am in that instance, then you can do like Dave Ramsey suggests. And if you're not using credit, you have envelopes that have the designation of what you have to have the budget first. Then you have envelopes that tell you what the money is designated for. So like me, I'm carrying around right now. Oh, I'm not going to tell you how much I'm carrying around. But I'm carrying around food money. So when that money is gone, then I have to either go back and reconsult my budget or make some changes or stop spending money on food. And when I say food, I don't mean groceries. I mean like fast food, the stuff I eat when I'm at the office kind of thing. All right. It's 2:00. All right. So, for our work hard, play harder moment, I really want you all to focus, think, and consider your legacy, what it is, what it should be, and what if you don't know what it is or you haven't decided the impact you want to make, take time and figure that out. Also with regards to your mental health, like for real. Right now a lot of people are getting divorced. Who did we just hear about? The Gates? The Gates are they're getting divorced after almost 30 years of marriage.
27 years.
Right? That's somebody's lifetime. And so, but they're not the only ones. It's a lot of that happening right now. There are a lot of suicides. There are a lot of, unfortunately, I mean, they're all unfortunate, but there are a lot, violence has increased. Domestic violence has increased. There's a lot of abuse. There's a lot of things that are happening right now simply because it's not simple, but in part due to the pandemic, the close proximity, the frustration. Like for those of you who normally were able to get your release because you went to the club every Friday night, that's not happening. And so a lot of that has come home. And a lot of people are bringing the club home with them. Like it used to be like a lot more stringent regulations about like mixed drinks and all. Look, it's all out there for you now. Right. And so whatever it is that you're going through, I just feel the need to say an addiction is an addiction no matter what it is. So if it's a sexual addiction, if it's narcotics, if it's alcohol, if it's food, right, whatever it is, it's all indicative of something else in your life needing to be taken care of. So like this past week, I gained 8 pounds.
Oh.
I pick up pounds quick when I want to. And so it was all emotional eating. And I was aware of it. So I knew it was emotional eating, but it was my coping mechanism and I used it until I was strong enough not to. So Monday I went back on my diet. But I allowed myself my emotional eating. Whatever it is for you, I want you to have the coping mechanism that you need. And for some of you, that could be a person. So, like we talked about Dr. Green, whoever it is for you, whatever it is for you, I hope you find it. We wish you all of the peace and tranquility possible for your lives, in addition to your financial success as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a community person. All right. So all that to say, before we hang up, Christina with a K. Anything coming up that everyone needs to know about? Are you going to be any place? Click.
Yeah, click. We're having a click meeting June 3rd. I can't remember if we set a time.
Is it 5 p.m.?
Yes, it's 5. So it'll be virtual. So we're going to send that out. So if you're not a member of Click, make sure that you reach out to us so that we can make you a member of Click.
So for those of you that know, Click is a networking group.
Yes.
And you can get 1 free visit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for right now in particular, it's hard to make connections. And so it's hard to network, but networking it's vital. It's lifeblood for most of your businesses. So here's a group where you'll be able to do that. And so I'm sure we'll make sure that we're sharing that next time around, next week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go.
Absolutely.
Anything else happening? What's going on?
So don't forget How to Be a Social Unicorn. My ebook is on Amazon. So make sure that
I do like the cover and I do like the logo.
Thank you.
I do.
So
it looks like a unicorn threw up. It's like one of those, like it's real peppy. It's real cute.
It is. Yes. So if you don't want to hire a social media manager, that's fine. But make sure that you're doing things the right way. So grab the book and use all the strategies, use all the tips, and that's it.
All righty. The things that I have to do, I'm not sharing. So we look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday at 1 p.m. I repeat, I need you all to maximize this time. So if you have a business question, something you need to know with regards to being a leader, being involved in your community, an aspect of your business, let us know. Drop me an email at, what is my email? Shirley at WorkHARDaholics.com. You can put into the DMs. You can put into any of the social media, all of that good stuff. If you have social media concerns, then you can reach out to Socialita Christina. How do they reach you?
Yes, you can reach me at www.socialitarva.com, or you can email me at info@socialitarva.com.
There you go. And if you want to have a commercial as pretty as mine, you can reach out to Christina with a C, our producer here at the Imagine Media Lab. All right, people. As we always say, live better, do better, be better, and happy entrepreneuring. Ta-ta.
Bye.
Let Socialita help your business stand out from the crowd by building your brand success through social media management. We're located at 1510 Willow Drive, Suite 100. Our website is www.socialitarva.com. You can also give us a call at 804-484-2001. Again, Socialita.
Imagine Media Lab, in partnership with the Women's Business Center, offers hourly rental to a multimedia studio. Create or edit digital assets for marketing. Record that podcast you've always wanted to start. Voiceovers and live stream. All equipment and software is included in your hourly rental. Located at the Women's Business Center, 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, Suite 100. ImagineMediaLabs.com. Book your session today.